Hello, this is RV Vagabond Jerry, and today I'm at Kingsley Plantation, which is close to Jacksonville, Florida. And this plantation is different than the large majority of them, maybe all of them, in that it is owned and operated by the National Park Service. And it's not really a very large plantation. I would say kind of a small, medium size, but I'm going to show you around.
This is the most representative of what this house looked like when this was first built. Now originally there were staircases on the outside of this house. There's one on this side here going upstairs. There's also one on the back of the house going down into the basement.
We're going to go into the rear entrance of the home.
Anything that is occurring in any of the rooms. I don't know which ones are bedrooms, I don't know where people ate. So this happens to be the only room where I have an idea what it was used for. About the African Americans and working on this land, that daughter also made a comment.
This is the only furniture in the entire home.
I'm going to go upstairs.
So it's the yes.
Or downstairs.
This whole property was originally an island. It's not really an island anymore because they have built in a road to get to here. And this is the river, and this is another island. But the tour guide said that that island used to not be there just from the natural changes in the topography. It wasn't built up, it just naturally happened over time. And that before that island was there, you could actually see the ocean at that point. Now to get to the ocean, you go out way down this way. And they received all of their supplies, of course, by boat. When I took the guided tour to the house there, I was surprised that it is just a bunch of vacant rooms and there's only a couple pieces of furniture in the whole place. This tells about the house, and they've got these 4 plaques here with information. I think it'd be hard to read with the shadows from the roof of this shelter. They have a path that goes out to the dock there. I think this is a more recently built house. This is the original house, and then there's a connection that goes to this building, which is mostly the kitchen, dining. There's a lot of trees on the grounds here, and I think most of these are cedar trees. And there is the kitchen building. From the main building, it has this covered walkway going to it.
The plantation. It was also added.
This is looking at that room from the other side. This is still called St. George Island, even though it's not really an island anymore. This is where we are, and there's the road, which is a dirt road coming from the highway. And this is about 15 miles northeast of Jacksonville, Florida. I'll show you these plaques here. Plantation era, Florida. This place has got a very interesting history. Mr. Kingsley who owned the place at one point. It's been owned by many different people at many times. It's been sold quite a few times, I understand. But Mr. Kingsley married one of his slaves. So I'm gonna go look in this building here. Sugar cane, I guess they made here. Cotton was the main product.
Most profitable. That's what they said.
Oh, this almost looks like a church.
Yeah, it's probably some kind of meeting.
This may be the first scythe I've ever seen, and I don't even know what it is. Wonder what they hung from there. This is the back of the building, and it is some kind of a meeting house. Here's a real small garden that they have. I imagine back then, though, in those days, they must have had a pretty huge garden to grow their own crops. Here is what's left of the slave quarters, and they're all built of concrete instead of wood. All that's left of this one is about 4 feet high. The rest of these are about 7 or 8 feet high. They have a fireplace and a separate room. That one's all concrete, but the rest of these looks like it's concrete with shell. Is how they use materials to build these. They're all the same, with a bedroom and a little bit larger room with a fireplace. And none of them have roofs. And they go way down here. These two have been beat down to very little left, but it shows you the floor plan. And only 2 of them have a bench out in front to sit. They called them slave cabins. This shows how they were built. And there's one larger building here. This is the back side of it, and it's really just a larger version of the smaller cabins with a big room and a fireplace, and then bedroom. But they could get a lot of beds and cots in here, and this is the only one that has a roof still. I'm sure they originally had roofs. Probably the hurricanes ripped them all apart. The row of cabins makes for a big arc around the front side, or maybe you call it the back side of the whole property, away from the river. The only guided tour is of the master's house. Everything else is a self-guided tour, and they give you an audio device you hang around your neck that gives a long narrative of the buildings, the properties, and what the slave life was like. I've only been to one other plantation, which is in Louisiana, and it was a totally private facility. So this is unusual in that it's owned and operated by the national park system. Well, it was an interesting day. Good day, folks.